Hello, my name is Zana Renfro and I'm with United Way of Paducah and McCracken County. We welcome you today with what we used to call Community Connections, and now we're calling it Your United Way. Today I have with me my guest and my friend and a longtime supporter and volunteer of United Way, Renae Crane. Renae comes to us from Paducah Bank, who's been a longtime supporter of United Way, and she has a very vital role in the way we're going, the direction we're going. She's participated in the campaign. She's participated in the investment part, and now she's doing something called Community Impact with United Way. So let's talk a little bit first, Renae, about your role as a United Way volunteer at Paducah Bank, and maybe how Paducah Bank raises money for United Way annually through their campaign.
It's fun to be a Paducah Bank owner at time during campaign. We do several different fundraisers. We've done things as best leg contest with men, and that's crazy, cutest baby, and then everybody that gives fair share also goes in a drawing. We have several gift certificates and things like that. And our contests that we do them on the internet so that everybody can participate, all the banking centers, everybody. It's not just limited to the main office or wherever. Everybody participates in that. And this year we're doing, you pick your song, your favorite song, and you match it to your co-owner.
Oh my!
So, yeah, so that's going to be interesting this year. So, but it's fun. We have usually 100% participation. I think that's been our 11th. I think we've done that 11 straight years. So that's very good. We have about 22 leadership givers. So that's very good too. We've received, I think, the Bank of the Year award.
You did?
Yes, and we've done that, so that's good too. And we also are on the campaign. We have co-owners that do the campaign. We have co-owners that do the investment part too, so that's good. So.
I find it interesting you keep saying co-owners,
yes.
And that to me tells me that the people that work at Paducah Bank obviously have an ownership in the organization they work for, and I think really that directly reflects even the donations that come to United Way, because it sounds like and I know there are a lot of employees at Paducah Bank that are so involved with United Way, but it seems like you all have so many projects and you look at things as a group. But I'm going to clarify some of the things you said, because it's very seldom that we can sit down and talk about 100% participation. 100% participation for Paducah Bank means that you have all of your employees that give. Every single employee gives.
Every single employee gives.
And that's just fabulous.
It is.
When you say leadership donors, I know what that is, but maybe the audience doesn't. What is a United Way leadership donor?
Now you have to help me with this, but I believe a leadership donor is where you contribute a set dollar amount each year, and it starts at $1,000.
You're correct.
And it goes up to $1,500, $2,000, and it just continues going.
And this year you've had 22.
Yes, that's correct.
So when you look at that at a minimum and what that means, that's fabulous total. So I encourage everyone as a group, as a company, payroll deduction is the way that we do raise the majority of the funds we raise, and it looks like it works real well for Paducah Bank, but we can never say thank you enough.
You're
and
welcome.
We appreciate so
much.
much.
Like I say, we just have fun with it, and that's what you have to do a lot of times when you have fundraisers.
Well, and I think sometimes too, I look at it's not only the recognition and the acknowledgement that it's a United Way campaign season, but it also, I know to you all, sounds like almost a team building experience where that you can have a project that you work on together.
Well, and we sponsor the barbecue on the river run too. You know, we sponsor and host it, so that helps too. I mean, there's several different things we help through United Way, different ways.
Well, I know the campaigns, probably of all the parts, you are a donor to United Way, and we appreciate that, but there's two other aspects on it you've actually had hands-on first experience doing. One of those is community investment, and the second part is community impact. So when we say at United Way community investment, obviously we're talking about how that money that's collected through our annual campaign is given to those partner agencies. So there is a process that's very unique, not for a lot of United Ways, but for a lot of nonprofits in the way that we designate those dollars. Can you talk a little bit, as being a volunteer who's been involved in that process, can you tell us a little bit about how the money that's donated every year is divided up among the partner agencies?
I'd be glad to. It's very interesting. I think everyone should start there first before they even get on the board or do anything else, because that shows you exactly where that money is going. You visit the different agencies, you listen to their issues, you listen to how they want to spend their money, what they want to do with their money, and then we allocate, what is set for them. So, and then they take that and they go back and they contact you when they need anything. But it just helps you see exactly what all the agencies are using the money for. It shows you, gives you more hands-on on what they're doing day by day to help our community, and it's just amazing. It really is.
We have encouraged people, volunteers who do want to get involved, and that is the perfect place to start. Your first day, I know, is spent visiting the agencies, their actual on-site locations, looking at what they do and who they serve, and just the atmosphere and the feeling you get. The second day, I know the budget part is very difficult.
It is very difficult.
And how it's a very difficult thing if you've never presented a budget, but also to sit and listen to budgets knowing you have to make those important decisions.
Yeah, it
so
really is.
That second day is important, and then the third day, and I always like to say this is almost like it's a very serious day, but that third day you sit down with the information you've gathered, and between the group of you, which we try to find about 20 people every year, you have to decide where the money goes. First you take what the requests were, how much money is available to divide, and then this group of people, 20 volunteers, have to sit down and decide which agency will receive what amount of money, and it is a hard experience. I know I have experienced that several years ago. Personally, do you think that's a good process to go through, or?
Oh yes, very. And not only, you're with those other 20 people too. So you not only are helping United Way and the agencies and everything, but you're also growing, with each other, because you're meeting new people and doing that. So yes, I think it's very good. I think the way that is done is very good.
Interesting. And I appreciate you always volunteering to do that. And I know sometimes folks are hesitant to step up and participate, but what a great way, one, to get to know your community, two, get to know the agencies and the services they provide in your community, and three, if you're a United Way donor, understand that process better of where the money goes.
Exactly.
And with payroll deduction, corporate donations, and all those you've got, last year we had over $1 million. So you collect $1 million, and you need to show how you're accountable and efficient with it. And United Way of Paducah McCracken County feels that community investment is the way to go. Now, when we talk about we've collected it, we've raised the money, we've collected it, and we have it in a pool to give away, how can you explain just a little bit about what United Way's new vision is moving forward, and how that the community can start to expect United Way to look and feel?
Sure. We have decided that the process that we had before, we were updating. We have decided to, instead of looking at the focus on the agencies, we're looking at the focus on issues. And issues would be, we have 3 different focus areas, and there are several issues that come out from the focus areas, but the focus areas that we're focusing on are education and care of children, and that is, the chairperson of that one is Susan Odie. And then we have an emergency assistance and crisis prevention, and that's Georgiana Lisowski. And then I'm on strengthening families. And I also have a co-chair that is Brenda Brown, and she's been very helpful for me. The committees get together. We've probably met over the last 6 months, monthly. We get together, we discuss issues. My committee is probably about 12 from different areas of expertise that have brought out issues, things that we think that are going to impact the community. We're going to bring that back together and present some of the issues that come out of that will impact our community.
When you talk about we've been funding agencies and now we're funding issues, it sounds like, and I know this too, but to clarify it, you're talking more about, instead of just giving a blanket check to an agency that does a great job in our community, it sounds like your groups are working to focus almost and funnel that money or the ideas and the issues into specific things, and as I understand it, that'll impact the community and make a difference.
That's correct. And what has been amazing about that is the different expertise that we have. We all get together, and it's like I'll bring something up, or they'll bring something up, and the other person across the table may have a solution for it. So they're all the agencies working together now, instead of, it's, this agency wants this or whatever. It's a community. It's a joint. And it's just been really, it's been eye-opening. It's been really good. So we're going to focus on issues, and it's one agency might take care of it, and other agency may too. So we're working together, and it's going to be really a good thing.
A lot of times I think we all stay so busy. We all stay busy in our lives as volunteers, as our lives as agency directors, that sometimes the expertise that comes along with that is just too far down on the list to have to worry about. And I think the thing that I've seen, and you can use any buzzword you want of networking or any kind of language you want, but the thing that I have seen happen out of your groups that I have sat back and observed is the fact that a lot of times, you mentioned that people realize new things. They didn't know that program existed. But I also think, and I've observed that I think there's even some realization of some duplication of things going on. Has that occurred? Have you all found that there are duplications of services?
We have, and like I said, we haven't. All we're doing right now is just getting some of the issues together and working them out. But yes, and I think the focus groups, what we're working on, another focus group may be too. So we'll join our services, and there's, it would be a good thing to come out from it. Instead of us, one person working on our one group, we'll all be, we all found different issues that help.
Well, and I know the history from this. I guess and you may know a little bit more about this than I do. The history on it comes from the Voices assessment that United Way of Paducah McCracken did some years ago.
Yes.
And it helped bring the community together to listen to what their concerns were, their needs were. So would you agree that the community impact model that you're working on right now is an extension of that?
Yes.
Continuing that conversation, how do you see those two connected?
No, I was not on the board when they did the assessment, the Voices assessment, but I've read the packet and everything, and I agree that everything that's come out from the community is exactly some of the issues that we're working on now. So I think the community is going to be very happy with what we're coming out from that.
Well, and I think that's a good way to understand what your community needs. I'm sure when you talk about focus areas of education and care of children, strengthening families in emergency crisis, almost every community probably has the same issues going on. Personally, I know that strengthening families is the foundation of a lot of the issues that we're having, and I know from the research you all have done and I have read, knowing that and then knowing what you all have researched has just strengthened my belief in that.
I had no idea until I saw some of the issues. I was like, oh my, I'm very fortunate, and so I haven't had some of the issues some of these families have had, and it will make you
changes how you look at things. It changes, and the other thing about it is, I think once you realize who our community is and the needs that are there, I think it's kind of hard to turn away from it, because we all are very fortunate, in our own ways and where we are, but there truly is a part of our population that needs help and needs support, and what a great thing to have volunteers like yourself that'll sit down and help us with that process.
That's true.
Community impact, something that we know won't happen overnight. And I almost feel like community impact is something that'll change maybe every year, or
it should, yeah. And that's what, this is so new, and we're all learning. That's a good thing about it, I think, is because each year, we can improve if we need to, or expand if we need to, because it's just. But right now, it's going really good right now.
Well, and you mentioned too, talking about how they're all really connected, all three of them. And I know the United Way Board of Directors has chosen education and care of children this year as their major priority, which you have to agree with 100%.
Oh, yes.
And your section of it, strengthening families, goes hand in hand.
That's correct.
Do you know a little bit, and this is getting out of your box a little bit,
is.
but can you talk a little bit about what you understand education and care of children is about, and what are we talking about helping children with?
I think what they're wanting to do is help children that they can, because they're our future. So what they want to do is, physically, mentally, so they can just strive, continue to strive, in this world. We just have to educate them. We have, I think that, and I know there's a 6x6 that I'm not on that at all, but Susan Odie is, and it's a shame she couldn't be here today to give you that, because that is really going to be a great program. But it's just to help the children, strive in the world that that they're in right now.
Well, when we talk about the connection between the two, we talk about strengthening families. I mean, I think part of what you all have you knew, but you've supported with numbers that are local, is the fact that some parents need help with parenting skills that teach children basic things from learning to be able to read to almost interpersonal relationships. Sometimes hygiene has an important part of that. And all those things, as I understand it, are almost already in place, but it takes you all to sit down to organize it. And can you explain a little bit about how that process is going?
It is. We've decided that the families needed help with budgeting. They don't have budgeting that they need. We're not. They're not getting that. So that's one of the issues that have come out. There's two. Like we talked about family parenting, and we don't have any recreation. Some recreations that they can do that they have to pay a lot of money for. So we're looking into, and a lot of things is just getting the information out there. How are we going? When these people need help, or when they want to do something with their families, or if they, what can they do? Where can they reach us? And so the 411, 211.
It is the 411 for the 211, but
it is. But anyway, so that's come out. I mean, there's just been so many different, things that have come out of when we sit down and we have our meetings that have come out. But yes, there are so many family issues, budgeting, parenting, just the everyday dental, that people can't, take their children to the dentist. Insurance, they don't have insurance. So I mean, there's just so many issues, and that's what the community impact, that's what we're hoping to.
Well, and the great thing that I've seen happen when you all bring these issues to the table and you put them on the table, and you can almost look at it like a deck of playing cards, and you put those cards face up. The people you have at the table are the ones that are going to be able to say, I can do that. I'm doing that already. And I almost see United Way coming from even a part of being able to say, we realize you do this. If there was extra funding, could you help additional people? And I think when I watch you all and listen to you all and you talk about your focus areas, that's a direction I think that I see you all going in, is not creating a program, but coming in and saying, let's talk about who already has that program or who already is having results, and let's talk about enhancing what's there. And then by chance, if there's some area or some card that's not being addressed, that you all can say, this is something we need. And this is just kind of off the cuff. Of all the things that probably shocked you the most, what community issue that Paducah and McCracken County has do you think probably, I know I have mine, and I'll share mine, but what community issue do you think would be the one that has flown under the radar, maybe that people don't talk about so often?
I would guess the one that keeps coming up is the senior citizens, the ones that are not eligible for some of the programs. They don't have good meals. I think that has bothered me more than anything, because they don't fit in a program because they're over the age or they have too much money, but they can't have meals. They, no one delivers them meals. They don't have family here to help them. I think that's the main one that has bothered me more than any of them.
Well, and that is sometimes an unannounced one. We talk so much about children and we talk about families, but our senior citizens are such a value and a resource to us, and sometimes they're the quiet ones out of the group. But you are right, and that catches me even when you said that, because that's the honest truth. There are so many programs out there for senior citizens, but if you don't fall within those brackets, of your income or where you live or accessibility,
And
age, you sometimes are forgotten. And what a great something to come out of a conversation to where you can highlight those folks and maybe find something to do or even bring that to other people's attention so that they can realize there's something they can do. I know our senior citizen does provide Meals on Wheels. I think it's 300 and something hot meals a day.
But I mean, it's just amazing how many, and they don't even have to be seniors. I mean, how many don't have hot meals a day? I mean, it's just.
I think the thing, and we talked about sharing what caught you off guard, I think, and I just had an email on this the other day, and it probably caught me off guard quicker than anything was the increase in the pregnancy rates for
under the high school students.
High school students. And I think in the last, correct me, but in the last 30 days she had 5 additional young women who are pregnant in schools, and that has so many, ramifications that come with that, and that probably caught me off guard. We talk about what got my attention the quickest, and maybe it's because I have young children, but that probably was what caught me, the pregnancy rates. The other thing that amazes me all the time are the number of homeless people we have. And the other thing that does amaze me all the time too is how many active HIV and AIDS patients we have here in town. When campaign season's at its height, and usually from September to December of each year it is, we're out raising money. And one thing I always like to say too, we talk about these statistics that shock us. The interesting thing I have found out during campaign is the fact that United Way doesn't necessarily mean serving those who are hungry or homeless or doing without. It means helping people every day who have had a disaster or crisis happen in their life.
Exactly.
And it is not by any means not to be exclusive. Can you think of some of the things you've heard out there and about that might help people? Services, not necessarily for those that have low income or poverty level, but services of agencies that you know about that United Way funds that could help anybody, that could help you, that could help I or me, and just whenever.
I think the American Red Cross, I mean, they're constantly, but the earthquake, the fires at California, I mean, just think where we would be if we didn't have them. So I think that would be, a great agency for, they contact everyone, from, whatever your crisis is. I think there's several agencies that help people during crisis. I mean, you never know when you're going to come upon a crisis in your life, and you need to know what those agencies are in case you need that. And a lot of people have a lot of pride and don't want to use them. So the new 211 will help them with that. So I think all the agencies really help everyone. And like I said, you never know what part of your life you're going to need them.
Well, you talk about, things that change our lives. Divorce changes our lives. A sickness or an illness, with or without insurance, would change our lives. Losing your job would change your life. And I guess I'd be remiss, you've mentioned twice the 211, and that's something right now that personally I'm very passionate about, but I haven't really talked a lot about it. But let me just really quickly go over that for those folks who don't know that much about 211. 211 is a United Way initiative, and recently with the Paducah Area Transit System receiving their MSAA grant, which they're very proud of. They were one of 8 cities across the United States that was awarded this grant. We have the ability in the near future to create a 211 center. And a 211 center would be a number you would call instead of 911 to help you with any kind of human needs, health needs, whether it was education, child care, talk about seniors and meals, anything you needed. It would not be calling into a resource database. It would be talking to a person who would get you exactly where you need. And the transportation part hopefully would get you there in case you had trouble. So that's something that's on the horizon for United Way, Paducah Area Transit, and I'm going to say Paducah and McCracken County, because you're right. When someone is in crisis due to whatever reason, how hard it must be to reach out and know where to turn. A lot of times I challenge folks every day to help be our advocate, help be an advocate for United Way and these partner agencies. And although you may not need the agencies right now, please remember who they help and where you can get a hold of those people, because what a great gift to give someone the ability to say, I know exactly where you need to go. So with all this on our plates, we're a busy organization. Renae, I appreciate so much what Paducah Bank you do for us. We couldn't do it without you, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you, and I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Join us again another time for another Your United Way, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Go out today and be an advocate for United Way and these partner agencies and help someone who might be in need. We appreciate you and thank you, and have a good day.